Hey, this is C. Peter Cimoroni. I'm the CEO and chairman at both Razor Limited, The Protocol, as well as creator and host of Blood Time, the podcast. Catch me on Jesse T's show coming up this week. Yeah, I was a fat little kid in seventh grade. I was 4'11", 165 pounds with a 41-inch waist. And my uncle was the first state place winner in the history of Cleveland Heights High School. And he and my dad had a sit down with me, said, dude, you got to do something. And so I love football. I could play football as a fatty, but I didn't want to do that. I had a baby brother coming. He came I was 13 years older than him. And I said, I don't want his older brother to be a pudge, if you will. My nickname was Pugsley, Jesse.
Oh, wow.
Pugsley is the fat kid on the Addams family.
Yes.
So I went to my doctor. He put me on this really cool way of eating. It wasn't a diet. And I lost 30 pounds. And by the time I was a sophomore in high school, through wrestling and through the tutelage of Coach Marino, who's a Hall of Famer, Coach I was at 5'7", 126 pounds with a 28-inch waist. And to this day, I'm 61 years old, 63 years old. And my waist is a 29. I weighed in today at 131 pounds. So
lean and mean, brother.
Lean and mean, baby. Let's go. Let's go, man. I'm like a piece of gristle. I'm grizzly.
What was the protocol?
I'm grizzly,
the nutrition.
The
nutrition plan.
It's a one ingredient food diet. I eat very whole foods. Anything more than one ingredient, I shy away from. So I'm eating, a piece of broccoli, a piece of fish, an orange, a banana, a carrot. I don't like to buy complex foods. I want my body to recognize it as fuel, burns efficiently. So my BMR is high. My BMI, I'm a 20 BMI. So I'm really a believer in that. And then a lot of hydration, great sleep, stretching exercises, a lot of walking and some weightlifting. And I still wrestle a tidbit. So.
Listen, those are the core tenets of health and wellness, brother. I'm really big into what they call nowadays biohacking, which is just optimizing your body, your mind, your soul, everything. And I'm big into this guy named Paul Chek. Have you heard that name before?
I have not. No.
Paul Chek is this. He's like one of the founders, one of the thought leaders of biohacking, and he talks about the four doctors. And one of the main doctors, Dr. Rest / Dr. Sleep. And you talk about rest. That's pretty much the most important thing you can do, because there's a lot of younger people that will go out and burn the midnight oil and they'll go train really hard, but because they didn't get the proper rest, they're literally killing themselves. They're not getting their mind to be healed, because there's all these cognitive degenerative issues, especially in the sports that you play, talking about football and wrestling, where if you're not getting even just enough rest, you're really killing yourself. And so where did you get the idea of nutrition? Was it all around sports? Was there a thought leader in your life that said, hey, listen, this is how you live life well? Where did that get implanted in your brain?
It came from Dr. Charles York, who was my pediatrician in 1970.
Wow. And
my mother was a nutrition major at Ohio State. So she was a big believer in whole foods, and she was a big believer in what was not organic, but our backyard garden.
Yep.
And so, if we couldn't get it from our backyard garden, we got from neighbors' gardens. I mean, my mother is an Armenian, my father's an Italian. They like their gardens.
I get it.
So now granted, it was the 60s and 70s, so a lot of processed stuff was in vogue. TV dinners and all that nonsense, and convenient food coming out of the 40s and 50s, particularly the war mentality of, canteen rations and all that. Yep. But my mother was a real believer in that. And so she was my first guru. And then I took it to the next level, understanding our sport and recognizing that what you put in your body is so doggone important, and how you treat the outer of your body is even as important. So it's that internal, external mix. And then we talk about those four foundational pillars of doing the right thing physically, mentally, emotionally, and psychologically, spiritually. So that's really what, we really believe in. It's a holistic approach.
It's all about what you're consuming. And I love what you said. It's not just the nutrition and the rest, which are, huge. It's also the people you're hanging out with, the conversations you're having, the things that you're planting in your mind, that all bleeds out into a life well lived, man. And it's great to hear other people that feel that and believe that. And so talking about those, that's kind of part of your ethos. It sounds like just hard work, discipline, showing up for yourself so that you can show up better for the world. How is that playing into your business today in terms of what you do today? How can you see that that's playing out for the better?
Well, we are a best practices company, Jesse. We search out, vet, and engage the best of the best practices. And if I'm engaged in a client, I go in and triage them. I find out what's right, what's wrong with them, where they want to be, and why. It's the why. Because if they just want to be mediocre, I'm the wrong cat for them. If they want to go from good to great, rock on, let's go. Now, but I also want to know what they want to do. So do they want to grow? Do they want to acquire and grow? Do they want to have efficiencies on their line items? Or do they want to be acquired? Do they want to build their valuation to the point that they can get their best multiple? So all of those come into the mix, if you will. And then we put together and we marry that thought process, that vision, and then we engage the strategic plan. And my company quarterbacks that, and I tend to be more, mostly that quarterback.
I think it's important for people to understand. I think you're a total badass in some of the entrepreneurial endeavors and some of the sales acumen that you've gained through the years. Talk a little bit about some of the highlights in terms of entrepreneurial experience and overview of the career.
Well, thanks, Jesse. Yeah, we were blessed back in 1998. My brother-in-law and I, my sister, came up with an idea called Cough Pops, cough drop on a stick, and it was just a very natural, nonchalant situation. I'm sitting at my sister and brother-in-law's house. He was a doctor. We lost him about 2 years ago. He's
sorry to hear that, brother.
Deeply missed, Dr. Jim Guerreri. But anyhow, having said that, he is holding a lozenge in his 3-year-old's mouth. And I said, "What the hell are you doing?" He goes, "Well, she's got a little sore throat. I don't want to give her any medicine. It's a little, whatever. It was a coldies or I don't know what it was. I just don't want her to aspirate." I said, "Well, there's got to be a better way than that, holding it in her mouth." He goes, "Yeah, why don't we put it on a stick?" Bingo. And then 2 years later, we were in the marketplace.